One Nation had announced that they were looking for a candidate to contest the Faraby election. Pauline Hanson dismissing the change as insignificant, saying that it's the same dead horse. But it's interesting how this is all going to play out, particularly in Farra, which is not that far from here. Senator Sean Bell is the One Nation leader for New South Wales and joins us. Sean, good morning.
Morning, Stephen.
My concern here is that whilst Pauline and yourself and One Nation say that you want to get rid of the Labor Greens government, you run the risk of all cannibalising each other on the other side of politics.
Stephen, look, no one's ever. Yeah, they did make that argument, Stephen, but I never hear them make the argument in the opposite direction. You know, very rarely do you hear them say that you're going to get a Liberal government if people vote for the Greens. The reality is we have a very a preference system that works very well, and that when you have good policies and you put forward good agenda, people hear that, and then you get the appropriate result, because the punter is always correct. I find it's such a cop-out when you hear the Liberal Party run the argument that, the voters got it wrong, too many people voted for One Nation, or the Labor Party got elected. If they just focused on strong policies, the policies like Senator Hanson has had for 30 years, that's how you get a good result, Stephen.
Well, those policies, their general direction anyway, is what Angus Taylor is espousing. What's the difference now?
I mean, the difference is that we've had those policies for 3 decades. What we've seen from the new Liberal leadership team is essentially a validation of what we've been saying, that One Nation was right about the need to address mass migration. One Nation was right about the need to scrap net zero. One Nation was right about the need to do more to protect and restore traditional Australian values. And that's the difference. We've been saying it all along, and now the Liberal Party is just catching up.
Well, but some would argue that up until about 15 years ago, the Liberal Party was saying all of that too.
Yeah, some would argue that. But for the last 15 years, the Liberals haven't been saying that. They've completely lost their way. And that's why so many people are resonating with the consistency and strength of One Nation's message, Stephen.
So who are you looking for in Farra? Because there is suggestions. I saw a report yesterday that you're actually talking to the independent state member, one of the independent state members that falls into that seat. How do you go about selecting a candidate there?
Stephen, we'll be backing a strong local candidate, one who knows the region and its challenges. No one's been finalised yet. No one's been endorsed yet. But what I can say is One Nation, we're standing and we're running in Farra because we know that the farmers, the workers, the families deserve a party that puts Australians first in all their decisions. And this by-election is a chance for the people of Farra to send Canberra a message that that region won't be ignored anymore.
Okay, let's talk about the broader issue here, and this is the reality is that if you add up the National Party, Liberal Party, One Nation vote, you're getting close to enough votes to actually form a government. Isn't it time that there is a more formal sort of alliance on the Conservative side of politics?
Stephen, One Nation, we stand strong and we stand as a party by ourselves. One Nation will work constructively with anyone who has the policies that we espouse, that the positions that we espouse. We'll work constructively with anyone, but there is no prospect of a formal arrangement. And Senator Hanson spoke about that on the floor of Parliament the other day. She made that very clear.
But, I mean, is that a sensible position to take? And, and given that there's One Nation is bigger than just Pauline Hanson now.
So if you look at the chaos, the confusion that we've seen in the last couple of months with the Liberal national collapse, the remarriage, the break up, the on again, off again soap opera that everyone's so sick of. But I think you can see why, standing with our own policies, our own positions, that is the position which gives us the ability to represent the voters that have chosen us best, Stephen, and not this position where you've got the Liberals and Nationals constantly fighting over policies and positions, tearing each other apart. That's a recipe for chaos and confusion, as opposed to One Nation, which is strong, stable, and people know where we stand.
Before we get to the next federal election, there's obviously the Victorian and South Australian state elections. You've said that you're going to contest every seat in both of those. How will the results of those two elections inform what you do federally?
Stephen, I mean, it obviously they are going to be a litmus test. It is going to be a litmus test, but I believe our message will cut through. We're going to run in those states in every seat. And again, the message is going to be simple. We're going to cut power bills. We're going to look at cutting everyday taxes. We're going to look at backing farmers and workers who are the engine room of the Australian's economy. And so I believe that we will see a very, very strong result in those elections. And I believe it will reinforce the message that we've had for the past 30 years, the one that we will continue to have.
I want to go back to your issue about, One Nation supporting these policies for 3 decades and the Liberal Party now just transitioning back. Pauline Hanson actually said too little, too late. Does that actually apply in politics? I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're moving in the right direction, does it matter when you arrive at that position?
I think it does. I think people can see through Johnny-come-latelys. I think they know that when a party has been consistent and held a position for as long as One Nation has, that they're the ones that can be trusted to continue to push that position when they're given an opportunity in Parliament. I think, it's easy to make promises. It's hard to deliver. It's hard to stay consistent. But One Nation we've risen to that challenge. We've been consistent and we're ready to deliver on those promises when we get the opportunity.
Most of the success polling-wise for One Nation in recent times has been off the back of a movement of Gen X voters. How do you get to younger voters?
We look at all sorts of different things. I mean, we recently had the movie launch. We're looking at ways to communicate with younger people. But I think, and then look, Gen X has been a large chunk of the recent support, but you'll see this across the board. You'll see that our support among the younger people has risen considerably. Among women, it's risen considerably because voters across the board are seeing the consistency, the strength, and the sensible message that we propose.
As far as working, because we all, Pauline Hanson has said that One Nation will guarantee supply for a coalition government if it gets to that, and give them support to form government. Do you see yourself being able to work with Angus Taylor in a more meaningful way than you might have with Susan Lee? One
Nation will guarantee supply because, One Nation's long history of working responsibly with whoever's in charge. In 2016, when Senator Hanson first came in, One Nation had the balance of power, and they were even able to work with Malcolm Turnbull. So obviously, doing the right thing, being responsible and making those tough choices isn't something that's new to One Nation, and it's something that they'll be able to do and will be able to do no matter who's in charge. Sean,
it's certainly going to be an interesting next couple of years. Good to talk to you this morning.
Cheers, Stephen.
Senator Sean Bell, One Nation Senator for New South Wales.
Authorised by Pauline Hanson, 12 Baronia Road, Brisbane.